You could miss your flight and not even realize it until the doors are locked. Not because of bad weather, not because of security lines, but because of small mistakes travelers keep making in 2025, and most don't even see it coming. Maybe you think you're good. You checked in online. You found your gate. You even got your coffee in hand. But that's exactly when trouble sneaks up. Today, we're diving into 7 new airport mistakes that could ruin your trip before you even board. Let's go. We live in a digital age. Everything's about speed and convenience now, especially at the airport. You check in online, your boarding pass shows up on your phone, and you think, great, I'm all set. No need to print anything. But depending only on your phone, that's where things can go sideways. It sounds efficient until your phone dies just as you're about to show your pass. Or maybe the Wi-Fi's down. Or your screen is cracked and the scanner refuses to cooperate. Suddenly, that quick and easy check-in turns into a full-blown headache. You're 2 steps from the plane, and yet completely stuck. No boarding pass, no help, no way forward. I've seen travelers sprinting around the terminal, searching for an outlet because their battery hit 0. Others stand helpless while a gate agent waves the scanner again and again, trying to read a code that just won't scan. Maybe because of screen glare, maybe because it's too dim, or the phone's just too old. But get this, some airlines, especially budget carriers like Indigo, still require in-person document checks at the counter. Even if you already have a boarding pass on your phone, there might be a tiny line that says, document verification required, and if you miss it, you're going back to the check-in desk. Worst case, you're not boarding at all. And let's not forget, phones update at the worst times. One restart, one crash, and suddenly, you can't even open your email or app. That's why printing your boarding pass is still the smartest move you can make in 2025. A printed pass doesn't need Wi-Fi. It doesn't care about battery life. It scans easily, no screen glare, no cracked glass. And if your airline reshuffles seats last minute, that printed version will reflect it. Sometimes, you'll even score a better seat if a good one opens up. So here's what savvy travelers do. After checking in online, take 30 seconds at a self-service kiosk and print your pass. It's fast, it's free, and it's your backup plan if anything goes wrong. Also, take a second to check the fine print on your digital pass. If it mentions document verification, go straight to the counter. Don't wait until it's too late. But even more important than what's showing on your phone is what your boarding pass might be hiding. One traveler flying Indigo from Singapore to India did everything right, or so she thought. Online check-in? Done. Boarding pass on her phone? Ready. But when she showed up at the gate, she was denied boarding. Turns out, her pass said document verification required at airport. That's it. No clear instruction. No alert. And since she skipped the counter, assuming everything was handled, the airline refused to let her fly. She had to buy a new ticket on the spot. And that's not an isolated case. A quick scan through Reddit reveals dozens of stories just like this. Some passengers got lucky and verified at the gate. Others, not so much. Budget carriers like Indigo or Ryanair are especially strict about this. Getting to the airport early? Smart. Rushing through security? Stressful. So arriving with time to spare is always a good move. But here's where things get tricky. Sitting right at your gate way too early might actually backfire. A lot of travelers think that grabbing a seat at the gate 2 hours before boarding shows they're organized and responsible. But for flights that are packed or short on overhead space, guess who becomes an easy target when gate agents need to check carry-ons into the belly of the plane? Yep, you, sitting there with your bag in plain sight. Here's why. Gate agents are under pressure to manage carry-on space. They don't have time to scan every single person who walks up during boarding. So instead, they glance around and tag the first few people who are already there, bags and all. And if you've been camped out in front of the gate for an hour with your roller bag next to you, you've basically volunteered. I know it sounds a bit unfair, but it happens all the time. And it's not just theory. Plenty of people have run into this exact situation. They were among the first to sit near the gate and ended up being asked to check their carry-on, while others who boarded later with bigger bags had no issue bringing theirs on board. So, how do you avoid this? It's all about smart timing. Yes, get to the airport early, always. Sitting around for an hour is way better than cutting it close and getting tripped up by traffic, a long security line, or a last-minute gate change. But sitting early doesn't mean sitting right at the gate with your bag parked by your feet like a neon sign. Instead, wait smart. One Reddit user put it perfectly. I always sit a couple of gates away where it's empty and quiet. Once boarding starts, I just walk over. And honestly, that's the move. It's what I do too. If you're traveling light, with a small carry-on that fits under the seat, there's really no need to rush. Just find a seat where you can keep an eye on your gate, but stay out of the spotlight. Once you see most passengers have boarded and the line has thinned out, that's your moment. Get up, walk over, scan your pass, and board without the hassle. And unless you somehow doze off, you're not missing that flight. No pushing, no long lines, and no one forcing you to check your bag. And if they do, just say you've got something inside that's not allowed in the cargo hold. Chances are, they'll move on and find someone else instead. You've checked in online. You take a screenshot of your boarding pass and it says Gate A12. Perfect. You head there, sit down, and relax. But here's the catch. Time passes, and while you're finishing a coffee or scrolling on your phone, the gate changes to B5. And you? Still at A12, completely unaware. Now you're sprinting across the terminal, or worse, watching your plane taxi away without you. At large airports, gate assignments can and often do change within the last hour or two before boarding. So that screenshot you saved earlier, it could already be outdated. So, how do you avoid this? First, check the digital departure boards at the airport. They're always the most accurate source for real-time gate changes, delays, or cancellations. Even if you're just stopping by the food court or browsing duty-free, make it a habit. Glance up at the screen before heading to your gate. Second, here's a surprisingly clever trick. Text the flight number to yourself. Yep, just open your messages and send something like American Airline 9707 or AA 9707. On many smartphones, especially iPhones, it turns into a clickable link. Tap it and you'll see your gate, departure time, even a live flight map. Of course, this only works with Wi-Fi or data, and in some countries, it doesn't pull the right info. So here's your backup. Download the airline's app, or use a flight tracking app like FlightAware or Flight Radar 24. These apps send push notifications when your gate changes, your flight is delayed, or boarding starts. Especially useful if you're flying through airports where digital boards are limited or in a different language. Just make sure to log in and turn on notifications before your flight. Bottom line, don't rely on static info. 30 to 60 minutes before boarding, always double check. Cross-reference the airport screen, your airline app, or even that text you sent yourself. And yes, make sure your phone is charged. No info helps if your battery's at 2%. We've all done it. You're watching a video, scrolling through Instagram, maybe answering some work emails, and suddenly your phone's at 20%. No big deal, right? You'll just charge it on the plane. Except, not all planes have outlets. Some older ones don't even offer USB ports. And even when they do, sometimes they're broken, or your charger just doesn't fit. Now imagine you land in a new city with no battery, no directions, and no way to contact anyone. One traveler shared their experience after an 8-hour bus ride to Sarajevo. Their phone and power bank were both dead. When they got to the station, they had no way to find their hotel, book a ride, or even look up a map. In the end, they had to walk into a local bar, ask to charge their phone, and have the bartender call a taxi for them. Now picture that happening at an unfamiliar airport. Maybe late at night, maybe in a place where you don't speak the language. Not ideal. So, how do you avoid this? First, keep your phone fully charged before heading to the airport. It sounds basic, but it's easy to overlook. Avoid draining apps like YouTube, games, or streaming while you wait at the gate. And yes, always pack a power bank or at least a charger. Bonus tip, print your boarding pass or save it to a second device, like a smartwatch. That way, even if your phone goes dark, you still have access to what matters. Second, know where to charge up if you need to. There's a website called sleepinginairports.com that lists outlet locations at major airports like LAX and Changi. It shows where to find power sockets, free water fountains, and quiet rest areas. You'll need Wi-Fi or mobile data to access the site, but it's a lifesaver when your battery's on its last legs. You just landed. There's no mobile data. You spot the airport's free Wi-Fi, something like Airport Free, and you connect without thinking twice. It's fast, it's free, and hey, it's probably fine, right? Well, maybe not, because here's what most people don't realize. That network you're connecting to, it might not be the real one. Hackers can easily create fake Wi-Fi names that look legit. And once you're on it, they can see everything. Your passwords, your emails, even your mobile boarding pass or bank login. And it's not just theory. On airplanes, in-flight Wi-Fi can be just as risky. Back in 2016, a journalist using American Airlines GoGo Wi-Fi was hacked mid-flight. The attacker exposed what the journalist was working on, compromising the story and showing just how easy it is to tap into unsecured networks. A 2022 study by Security Labs later revealed that many airlines still rely on outdated Wi-Fi hardware full of serious vulnerabilities. And this isn't rare. According to research by Kaspersky, about 1 in every 5 wireless networks around the world are completely unsecured. That's roughly 6.4 million public hotspots vulnerable to attack. And airports? They're prime targets. Lots of people, lots of data, very little caution. So what's the fix? First, install a VPN before your trip. Apps like NordVPN, Surfshark, or ExpressVPN create an encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. That means even if someone intercepts your connection, they'll only see scrambled code, not your personal info. Just make sure you turn on the VPN before you connect to any public network. Second, don't do anything sensitive on airport Wi-Fi, especially without a VPN. That means no logging into your bank, no accessing work email, and definitely no shopping with your credit card. If it can wait, let it wait. If it can't, use mobile data if available. Third, always double-check the network name. Hackers love names like Free Airport Wi-Fi or Public Lounge Net. If you're not sure which network is legit, ask an airport staff member or check the information desk. Bonus tip, once you've got a VPN running, you're covered, even if you accidentally connect to a fake network. That's the beauty of it. So don't skip this step. A good VPN costs a few bucks a month, but can save you hundreds or even your identity. You've made it through TSA. You've got your coffee, your boarding pass, and a seat right by the gate. You're in the clear, right? Not so fast. Plenty of travelers have missed their flight, even while sitting just steps away from the boarding door. And the reasons? They're more common than you think. One person was deep into work, headphones on, laptop open, completely in the zone. They didn't hear the boarding call, didn't notice the line. And by the time they looked up, the gate was empty and the door was shut. All it took was one playlist, one deadline, and too much focus. Others misread the countdown clock at the gate. They thought it showed the start of boarding. It was actually the end. Some people fall asleep, long layover, overnight flight, or just pure exhaustion. They figure they've got plenty of time, close their eyes, and wake up to an empty gate. Another easy mistake? Sitting at the wrong gate. Maybe it's one number off. Maybe it looks right, but belongs to a different flight leaving around the same time. You sit, you wait, you hear them call names, but they're not calling yours. You only realize something's wrong when you check the screen and panic sets in. And then there are the surprises. Gate changes announced, but you're distracted and miss the call. Flight rescheduled last minute, and you never got the update. Connection delayed by weather, and you arrive at the next gate just as it's closing. Sometimes it's not your fault, but most of the time it's preventable. So how do you make sure this never happens to you? Keep your eyes on the screen, not just your phone. Double check the gate and departure time every 15 to 20 minutes, especially if you're in a large terminal. If you're using headphones, keep the volume low or leave one ear uncovered. Boarding announcements don't always come with flashing lights. And finally, set an alarm or reminder for boarding time, not just departure. Give yourself a buffer, because being at the airport isn't enough. Being alert is what actually gets you on the plane. You think you know TSA Security. Shoes off, belt off, laptop out, liquids bag ready. You've done it a dozen times, maybe 100. How different could it be? But here's what travelers forget. TSA isn't designed to stay the same. By their own words, TSA incorporates unpredictable security measures, both seen and unseen, to accomplish our transportation security mission. They also make it clear TSA adjusts processes and procedures to meet the evolving threat and to achieve the highest levels of transportation security. Because of this, you may notice changes in our procedures from time to time. In other words, even if everything went smoothly last time, it doesn't guarantee today will be the same. Not even close. One day you cruise through without touching your laptop. The next day you're unpacking electronics you didn't even think counted. Your tablet, your camera, even a wireless speaker you forgot was buried at the bottom of your bag. And it's not because TSA is being difficult. It's because the process is meant to shift, to stay a step ahead of anything that could threaten the system. Right now, TSA is rolling out new tech like CT scanners and self-service lanes that let you leave liquids and electronics inside your bag. Sounds incredible, and when it works, it is. But not every airport has these scanners yet. Even the ones that do sometimes switch back to the old methods depending on staffing, system tests, or maintenance needs. And that's where you see it happen, the familiar scene. A guy ahead of you, waving his arms, insisting, "I didn't have to do this last week." Or someone standing frozen in confusion because the same checkpoint that took 15 minutes last month is now crawling slower than rush hour traffic. It's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to feel like the system is broken. But the truth is, this unpredictability is part of how the system stays strong. And while tech is changing, some old rules are stubbornly holding on. The 311 rule for liquids is still alive and well. Tiny bottles under 3.4 ounces, all zipped into one clear quart-sized bag. One bag per person. So if you're packing like it's 2023, thinking you can throw all your toiletries loose into your carry-on and slide by, you're setting yourself up for a messy checkpoint experience. The best travelers? They don't assume anything. They pack smart. Liquids handy. Electronics easy to grab. And when a TSA agent says, "Take everything out," they just smile, unzip, and move on. Because at the checkpoint, it's not about what you remember from last time. It's about how quickly you adapt to what's happening today. And the faster you do that, the faster you're through security and on your way. Airports can feel like a maze, even when you think you know the way. But a little awareness, a little preparation, and a little flexibility, that's how you turn a stressful trip into a smooth one. If today's tips saved you from even one airport headache, give this video a like, share it with a fellow traveler, and drop a comment to tell us what's the worst airport mistake you've ever made. Safe travels, and see you in the next one.